Teachers have done it. Preachers have done it. Movie stars have done it. Even politicians have done it. And is that okay? What we're talking about today is bankruptcy. What are the pros and cons of filing for bankruptcy? How does it work? And is it something we should even consider? Let's take a look after this. What are the pros and cons of filing for bankruptcy? What is bankruptcy anyway? Well, bankruptcy is a debt relief option that we have in the United States to give us a clean slate. We totally get out of debt, tear it up, it's gone. It's a fresh start. It absolutely erases debt forever, but not all debts. Some people think all the debt that I have will magically go away. There may be exceptions to dischargeable claims in your bankruptcy. For example, if you have a student loan, not forgivable unless they change the rules. If you have a certain kind of mortgage, not forgivable unless they change the rules. So you want to know going in, if you're going to file for bankruptcy, what the dischargeable debts would be. But for the most part, you can count on consumer debt being dischargeable, credit cards being dischargeable, medical bills being dischargeable, which for most people are the combination of things that cause the problems. An unforeseen illness, and you can't work for a while, and there you go. So what the bankruptcy does, and we're talking about Chapter 7 here, the full, brand new clean slate, it gives you immediate creditor protection. People like that. That's this automatic stay, they call it a legal stay, from collection actions. They're not going to call you, they're not going to bother you, they're not going to show up at your door. No more emails, no more hassle factor. They can't touch you once you file for bankruptcy. People love that and they're going, oh, hallelujah. So that's the good thing, but you need to remember something. Not everything is forgivable. There might be some family law issues that are not forgivable and certain debts that aren't. So make sure that you know about that. You also want to know about the time frame. Filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy is going to take about a 3-month process minimum. It's not immediate. And right now it might even take longer because things are taking a little bit longer these days with all of the transitions that we've had in our processes the last couple of years. You also need to know with too much disposable income, you might even not qualify for a Chapter 7. The government says you should be able to just solve the problem on your own, so we're not going to allow you to do this. Well, now what do? There's another type of bankruptcy that might be an answer for you. We're talking so far clean slate, Chapter 7. There's also a Chapter 13 bankruptcy that might be for you. So it's a reorganization of your debt. Just think of it as a restructure, a reboot. It's where you reduce the amount that you owe, or maybe you have a new payoff structure where your payments now are more manageable for a while. This is a really good thing. But it's amazing to me how people are sometimes surprised that it's not just a get out of jail free card and it's not totally free. If you have debt that is forgiven, if you have a mortgage that you now pay less on or it's been restructured, you have been given a gift, right? The money that you were going to pay but you don't have to now, that gift is recognizable by IRS and they say, nah, it's not a gift, that's a taxable event. And most people find that out a year or two later. I think the average is 18 months. And then they get the IRS bill and it's like, shoot, now I have to pay my income tax bracket in that year tax on all of that money that I thought I was home free for. So make sure if you're considering this or you're walking through this with a friend, there is going to be a tax ramification some point in the future. You want to know what that is before you go in. Always keep your eyes open. There's this big downside to bankruptcy, and that's that creditors are going to look at you and say, you're not a good risk. Your credit score is going to go in the toilet for a while. It's amazing how fast it comes back. But it's true, your credit score might go down hundreds of points, many hundreds of points. So it's time to rebuild. This is going to take time. It's going to take consistency. It's going to be paying on time, communicating with your creditors. But it does happen much more quickly than you think it might. So this whole bankruptcy thing, is it worth avoiding or is it worth jumping right into? Well, why not avoid bankruptcy if you can? if you can maintain your credit rating, if you can maintain your integrity, if you can negotiate with the consumer credit companies directly, and if you have other options, do that. Call the creditors yourself. Get help from your family. Get help from a strategic planner who can create a debt repayment strategy. Maybe for you, they can negotiate down your debt balances without charging you the difference of what you've saved. So another downside to consider for bankruptcy is it's a very public action. And everybody gets to know who you owe, how much you owe, what's happened, why you're saying that you can't pay your bills, and the fact that you didn't pay your bills. Bankruptcy is public. So we can see who has filed for bankruptcy in the past. Not that it's shameful, because it might have been a restructure and they don't always tell you that part. But we've got Dave Ramsey, the money guru, right? Larry King, famous guy everybody knows. Burt Reynolds, if you're old enough to appreciate his work. Meatloaf, Jerry Lewis, a couple politicians you might recognize. Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson filed for bankruptcy. Cyndi Lauper, LaToya Jackson, Kim Basinger, Dorothy Hamill, David Bowie, P.T. Barnum, the famous wealthy circus guy, Milton Hershey, the chocolate guy. They filed for bankruptcy. So whether they did a clean slate or whether they did a restructure, they took advantage of a legal process of bankruptcy. There are some real pros and some real cons to this whole bankruptcy conversation. So I would encourage you to attempt to take the judgment out of the equation and just consider bankruptcy as one of the many legal resources available for financial help when you need it. Of course, if you can avoid getting into trouble in the first place, that's great. But if it's necessary, isn't it good to know that a problem that comes from something that might be through no fault of your own, medical bills, for example, it can be fixed. If necessary, you can restart, you can recalibrate, you can reboot and renew. Well, now you know all the pros, you know all the cons about bankruptcy. You're equipped and ready to move forward if you need to. And I like to say, now that you know, you can go and grow. So I trust that you have found value in this information. Please share it with others who are asking the same kind of questions about bankruptcy. Hit the bell to be notified of the new videos as they're published, like this video. And we'd love to hear your comments regarding your experiences with bankruptcy, good, bad, or ugly. Until next time, I'm Judy Copenbarger. God bless.